Hi guys. Our society is lying to both men and women. It tells young boys that there's something wrong with their inherent masculinity, and it sells young girls some fantasized notion of a career as being the greatest source of their fulfillment and happiness. The result is a confused generation trying to frantically claw at some sense of meaning and purpose. But I think no lie is as destructive and antithetical to human nature as the idea that a woman's true happiness primarily comes from working a job. And I'll tell you why. Your job is not your life's purpose. It is, at best, a means of sustenance. Too often, the word career is thrown around by people when they want to glorify and fantasize what's really just having a job. Having a career that actually gives you enough meaning and purpose and excitement in life is a luxury only a few people have. The vast majority of people have jobs they hate, and they only do that job they hate because they have bills to pay. I'm not sure why anyone would think that's more fulfilling than family, children, and marriage. Women bear the greatest brunt of this lie. Their most vital and fertile years are spent slaving away at these jobs until they realize that they're stuck in a life they don't want to live. This is reflected in the phenomenon of female lawyers disproportionately dropping out of law firms after the age of 30. This is when they find out that their life is being eaten up by a workplace that ultimately doesn't give a damn about them. And when surveyed, over 48% of women have stated that work-life balance is the biggest reason they want to quit. Working a job isn't exactly the female empowerment that feminists told us it was going to be. Women went out of their way to escape the patriarchal oppression of their husbands, but usually just found themselves working for a male boss somewhere on the corporate ladder. Except that male boss didn't give a damn about them and could easily replace them at the drop of a hat. The same women that cringed at the thought of making their husbands a coffee or a sandwich now finds herself running errands around the workplace trying to make sure that the male boss is happy and types up a good report. To me, this seems like human relationships are becoming less meaningful and more focused on money and feminist ideas, where women think they're gaining freedom, but they're actually facing a worse kind of oppression because it's done covertly. And the most tragic part is the women that are most likely to fall for this lie are the women in their 20s and 30s. It's just a harsh biological fact that those are also the most fertile years of a woman's life. Many women find themselves at the end of their career road, having missed the intersection where they actually needed to make important decisions about marriage and children and family. And usually there's no going back. There's a great book everyone should read called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. I think that's enough to change anyone's perspective on this. Ronnie was a nurse caring for terminally ill patients and recording their life's regrets before they died. She writes that one of their greatest regrets on the deathbed that they were on was that they wish they hadn't worked so hard and actually spent more time with family. I think there's a lesson in that we could all learn before we get to that stage ourselves. So with that being said, until the next video, I'll see you guys later. Bye.
I want a divorce.
I'm tired of marriage counseling. I'm tired of trying. I'm ready to leave. I'm ready for a divorce. I'm exhausted. I'm mentally at my capacity.
I truly thought I was gonna be with him forever. And I still love him so much and I wanted it to be different, but it's not.
In sickness and health, better or worse, like, no. Like, so destroy myself and destroy my kids to keep a vow? Nope.
So if you're in a miserable marriage and you think about divorce regularly, go ahead and do it. You will not regret it. The thing that you'll regret is staying in that marriage longer than you wanted to and giving him years and years and years that should have been yours.
My future was right there. Like, it was solidified. Like, I was comfortable for the rest of my life. Maybe not mentally in my relationship, but financially I was fine. And I gave it all up to be happy.
Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the one.
Everybody keeps thinking that I'm handling this divorce so well, and I'm not. I'm not okay.
Maybe I should have stayed. It was like stable in every other area but that. Like, is my mental health really that important?
All that fake, all that happy. Oh, I'm doing so great. I think I was in shock. And now it's coming like into reality, and I don't know.
I don't know. Is this another stage of divorce? I'm happy, but I go into these random thoughts of, you gave it all away. Like, was it worth giving away? And I know it was. I know it was for my mental sanity. I know it was for my happiness. It will all come together. But it's still terrifying to start over at this age.
I don't know what my life's gonna be like. I can't seem to remember anything bad. I just remember all the good things.
The divorce, I got $600,000. Yes.
Why?
That was part of our settlement, so I could have taken more, but I didn't.
I just saw a video of some guy saying that women always regret the choice to divorce their husbands. Like later on, they always regret it.
I am processing the most triggering breakup I've had in 9 years.
Why are men so horrible?
Yesterday I told my husband I wanted to be separated from him, and people keep saying sorry, and I'm only crying right now because that was probably the hardest thing I've ever done. I truly thought I was going to be with him forever.
And on today's episode of Another Woman That Has Now Regretted Her Divorce. Let's go.
Hey, it's Jenna. Recently divorced and kind of figuring out this new way of life. I was married for 23 years and with that person for 3 years prior. So for a total of 26 years of my life, I have been out of the game of dating, making friends, going out, and stuff like that as a single woman in her 40s. Yeah, I'm 47. So I've raised children. My children are adult children now. And it's kind of interesting because it's so lonely at this stage in life after divorce.
You just got to keep living, man. Free. Livin.
Divorce was finalized.
A few moments later.
I don't really use this account anymore. But I wanted to pop on and say hi. I just had a live stream for the first time in like a week. And I'm sorry about not really being active. I've had to focus on my mental and my physical health, and my family. So that's what I've been doing. And right now, live hasn't been a priority for me, which is fine. It never really was a priority to me. And I've tried to limit things that aren't benefiting my greater good in my day-to-day life because, I've been in trauma therapy now for 10 months.
On the day my divorce was final, I'll never forget what my ex said to me. He looked me right in the eyes and he said, "You're going to regret this. You're going to get 6 months down the road and you're going to regret divorcing me." And you know what? He's right. I did have regrets.
Why get a divorce after 25 years of marriage? The short answer is because it is not too late to be happy. And I finally got to a point at the beginning of the year where I decided that it wasn't too late to be happy. I still have, hopefully, many more years left, and I would like to be happy for those years.
Divorce is probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, you guys. It's been a year since everything got finalized. And I am living my best life. I am thriving really lately and finally happy with my routine and my solitude and the things that I do on my own. But this week marks a year and I'm feeling that grief, just kind of clouding over me, which is wild. It's this person doesn't even exist in your life after 7 years, and like the thought that the things that you thought you were going to build together no longer are viable.
For starters, who's marrying chicks with a septum piercing, bald shade hair like G.I. Jane, and tattoos on her knuckles and neck? Guys, stop being desperate. The next thing is she's saying she enjoys her solitude, she enjoys her peace, everything is cool, but you're mourning a marriage that's been over for 7 years. I'm telling you guys, these women need you. They cannot function without a man in their life.
I cheated on my husband in 14 years and lost him forever.
When my divorce was finalized and my ex-husband moved out,
The first couple of nights, I had crippling anxiety.
My wife recently asked for a divorce, just straight up said it wasn't working out anymore. She wasn't happy, blah, blah, blah. But no cheating, no abuse, nothing like that. Just wasn't happy.
Can we talk about how hard it is to leave the good guy? One, when you say, I want a divorce, and he's like, no, I want to work this out. Everything's going to be fine. You know, we can get through this. And he's so encouraging and everything's just so fucking peachy keen, right? We talk about how I'm manipulated into staying because he's a good guy. He does nothing wrong. Like, the only thing he's guilty of is being lazy and, you know, not putting in effort like we did when we were in the beginning of our relationship, like any other marriage.
I divorced the nice guy, knowing I was not in love and not fulfilled in that marriage, and that we truly just were not compatible.
He doesn't beat me, he doesn't do anything, he doesn't take money from me, but he downplays my emotions. I don't think he fully understands me. And we've talked about this, y'all. This has all been in counseling, but how do you leave the good guy?
If your husband is a good guy, but you're ready for divorce, you're not a bad person. So don't let guilt get the best of you.
The guilt you're feeling is actually not guilt, okay? Because guilt means you're doing something wrong, but you're not doing something wrong. And therefore, it's not guilt you're feeling, it's the discomfort of making a choice that you know is going to be hard for somebody else, and it's the choice that he doesn't want.
You're not doing him any favors by staying. If anything, you're actually going to start building up resentment. Your relationship doesn't have to be toxic to validate your feelings of wanting to leave.
You do not need to be in an abusive, awful, horrible relationship for you to justify why you want to choose yourself.
You are not doing anything wrong by asking for a divorce. You are not doing anything wrong by saying, my happiness lies in a different path.
He may not see it like this right now, but you're doing both of you a favor.
Here's why women regret divorce more than men. Financially speaking, women's lives get worse after the divorce, while men's get better. The standard of living for women goes down an average of 27%, while the standard of living for men goes up 10%.
But here's the thing. Back then, I started Magic City in 2005. I was there from 2005 to 2011, 6 years, right? This is Jeezy coming to the club spending $40,000
one night
regularly, not just in one night. When the regularly Big Meech and BMF, I came like right before they all got locked up. But the culture had already, the seed had already been planted. So now that the dope boys is in jail, here come the rappers and the ball players keeping it up. This is the Lil Wayne and Fat Joe Make It Rain days. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
the money was different then. There were ball players and rappers coming in the club spending 20, 30, 40,000 like it was nothing. QCP.
200 grand on a night, bro. That's how much would be in the club.
QCP was.
You don't think they do that now? I think they do way more than that now.
No, they don't. And he would come to the club and spend that type of money.
So you're trying to tell me that the
street nigga,
the strip dance, the stripper / dancer nightlife portion, right, has diminished in its gains or revenue?
Yes, and I'm gonna tell you why.
In the last 10 years, 15 years?
I would say in the last
He said Elizabeth.
5 to 7 years, and I'm gonna tell you why. Social media. Men aren't coming to the strip club when they can go down their timeline and see ass. What are they gonna come to the strip club and buy it for?
I guess that's true because that's how I feel.
See it on the fucking phone.
About that.
That's how I felt.
And these girls these days, I'm an OG in this game. These girls these days don't give fantasy. I bartend in the strip club currently, and these girls be on the stage shooting guns and rapping and shit, and I'm like, girl, be sexy. Don't no man want to come in here and throw money on you because you shooting guns in the air?
That's a fact. I laugh though. It's funny. It's fun.
Be a fantasy.
Yeah, you have.
When I was a dancer, it was, you are providing this fantasy for this man. He's going to come here to get what he can't get at home. He's going to come here to get away from his everyday problems. He's going to come here because he only could dream about having a girl like you. You get what I'm saying? And he still can't even have you. But he can have you for these 20 minutes that you grinding on his dick. He can have you for this 15 minutes that you smiling in his face. These girls don't do that these days. They're so stuck on clout. They're so stuck on who knows me, how many followers I got, or the popularity of it. They took the fantasy out of strip. And guess what else left? The coin.
Because the fantasy is what really will get you to
The
pay.
fantasy is what got you the coin. This hood club, black club, ghetto club, whatever you want to call it, era is slowly but surely dying.
It's done.
It's not
It's
the
a
same.
different game.
I don't even
I
know.
bartend in the strip club. Shout out to Club Rain Atlanta, 16th. I bartend there on Wednesdays and Saturdays. For my birthday, I did a birthday set. I got on stage and danced. I didn't take my clothes off, but I got on stage and danced. When I did birthday sets at Magic City, the least amount of money I made was $5,000. The most amount of money I made was $17,000. I made $3,000 at my birthday set as me today.
But that's but that's the market. That's the way it is. There's no money in the clubs like that.
My point. My
No money in the clubs.
She said,
My guy, I
oh,
work in the hood.
Yeah.
I work in the hood club.
Yeah.
And they wasn't checking for me.
I tell people
Yeah, they
this.
care.
It's
And I didn't shoot no guns in here.
maybe it's because you didn't.
Now, women, I can understand you want to mate and date with men who are taller, stronger, smarter, richer, higher status, more responsible, and more competent. However, if I'm that guy, you have to understand that my reward for giving you what you want is that I end up with a woman who is shorter, weaker, dumber, poorer, lower status, less responsible, and less competent. Not a very attractive prospect when it's put that way, is it? And that's precisely why you balk at settling down with a lower status man. Being the boss isn't always what it's cracked up to be. Indeed, more and more men are struggling with this very issue. This is the real meaning of the oft-repeated phrase, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. Being the higher status person in a relationship is very expensive. While women traditionally have been trying to secure the best deal, men have resigned themselves to minimizing loss. Just keeping it real.
So how much did my divorce cost me? Well, this is a fantastic question. There's direct and there's indirect costs. Direct costs, I lost $106,000 out of my 401k retirement plan I spent 20 years contributing to. I also lost half the equity in the home, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, cash, and savings that I also spent 20 years contributing to. I also lost half of all the non-liquid assets like furniture, household goods, electronics, cars. Keep in mind, I paid for all of these. And this is in addition to financially supporting her and her/our daughter for 17 years, which is many hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm now broke, live in a 2-bedroom apartment, and have a negative net worth for the first time since I was, 25. Indirect costs, my job, my sobriety, my self-worth, my masculinity, my hope for the future, my ability to trust women again, my belief in God, my pride, my motivation, my physical health. I don't know, let's just say everything.
Divorced dads 10 times a day end themselves because they've come to the conclusion, I'm the problem, I'm the a-hole, remove me. They're cut off from their legacy, they're cut off from their kids, they feel rejected, and the person that I put ahead of my life, that I sacrificed for, that I love, that I put on this pedestal has abandoned me. Maybe I am worthless, maybe I am a piece of crap, maybe I don't deserve to be alive. And that negative self-talk drives them into the pavement and they take a permanent L. And now that pain and misery they feel inside gets rippled into the family, into the children. And the scariest part is for kids whose dads end themselves, they're more likely to do the same thing. My dad didn't stick around, why should I?
The only thing men really need to learn is that you will never be able to make a woman happy. You just can't. If you last too long, then that's too much. But if you last too little, then that's too little. If you want too much intimacy, then you're being pushy. If you don't want intimacy at all, then you're cheating. You can remember to take out the trash, but she's going to remember that you didn't do the dishes. You can give her child support and you can give her over that and pay all of the in-between. And it's never enough, but when you pay nothing, then you're a deadbeat and she's still not happy. You could plan the perfect date, but if you didn't spend enough, then it's still not good enough. But if you don't plan a date, then you're a loser that puts in no effort. Women who don't have boobs want boobs. Women who don't have ass want ass. Women who have too much ass want a smaller ass. If you text too much, then you're basically a simp. But if you text too little, then you're a loser who doesn't care. You could buy her exactly what she wants, but if it's the wrong color, then it's still not exactly what she wants. You could give her all of the affirmation and all of the emotional support, but she's always going to remember the one time that you didn't. If you work too much, then you're not spending enough time with her. But then if you cut your hours and you're home with her more often, but you're making less money, then you're broke and you're basically a loser. If you watch too much football or have a hobby with the guys, then you're not invested in her. But if you don't have any hobbies or any other interests other than her, then you're a simp. Until you understand this as a man, that it's not your job or your responsibility to continuously make her happy, and that you can't make her happy, your life will be a lot easier. Okay, bye.
My brother, you can never satisfy a woman. If you give her time, she'll be looking for money. If you give her money, she'll be looking for time. And the funniest thing is a man who has money doesn't have time. And a man who has time doesn't have money. So my brother, don't kill yourself. Just do what you can do and leave the rest to God